Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast episode 668. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinsod,
Ahoy!
and Tony Korkanakis.
Yo, chooms.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers, live on Twitch Tuesday nights. Please join us and hit that subscribe button on here. We do
Right
appreciate
now.
that.
Do it right now.
Right? If you're watching this, subscribe.
Hurry up.
Subscribe. All right. We're also on YouTube the following day, so subscribe to that channel too. Leave us comments. We'd like to hear from you guys. We'll answer some questions, whatever. Anyways, guys, episode 668 of the Gamecast. What have we been playing? I will go first because I got to play some Forza finally, and yay!
It's Forza, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's
cool.
nothing.
You drive in this game.
I'm not. Yeah. By the way, you drive a car, and there's way too many tuning options. I will say
I kind
that,
of would like a little driving in a game I play. But
yeah,
whatever.
I mean, like, look, the game looks phenomenal. The game has a ton of customizations, which I'm sure the gearheads are loving. And I used to listen, not to, toot my own horn here, but I'm pretty damn good at racing games. I won the Gran Turismo 2 competition back at there's E3 when I went to years ago. I won that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Listen, it stands out. I'm pretty good at racing games.
You're the
I'm
Elden
really good
driver.
Yeah, I was always pretty good at it. Yeah, I mean, Elden Lord translates to driving apparently. So, but I'm pretty good at racing games. I even what I played here on my first lap. I got a 9. They give you section ratings. I got an achievement because I ran a 9 on my first section of the game, and so you give an achievement for that. And I got first place in the first race, which is not. It's very hard to do. Elden Wheels. Hey Churro, thanks for joining us, by the way. Elden Wheels, that's it. But I don't know. So Forza, I do love my racing games. I used to love my racing games. I think maybe I just gotten older and I like different stuff. But the game's it's good. It looks really good. It controls very well. My controller, by the way, has a problem with its trigger. It gets stuck. Didn't know that until this game. Yeah, my right trigger gets stuck. So try driving, by the way, when you have a stuck accelerator. I'm still good with it, by the way.
What type of controller is this?
It's just a regular Xbox controller. The trigger's stuck for some reason. So
Just wait for next year for the new model.
But this one, I'm not gonna oh, I go buy myself a controller, but I'm like, what the fuck? No, I'm probably not keeping the system at this point. So it's why am I going to buy a controller?
Yep.
I mean, like I said, I like the game a lot. But I'm I don't know how much I'm gonna play this thing because it is the same game I played since.
Yeah, I mean, what is this,
came out.
the 14th Horizon or Forza?
Yeah, I mean, it
15?
runs.
I don't
I
know.
mean, it asked me to run performance mode, and I was like, let me try it with a ray tracing because that's the idea. I want to see how good this amazingly looks. So I did that, and it runs 60 frames anyways, at ray tracing 4K.
Yeah, that's
and
what you want.
It looks
That's the best.
it looks phenomenal on the TV. It looks great.
Racing games always
Again,
a good showcase.
looks phenomenal.
Pieces.
Yeah, I just it's the same. It's the same game.
It's not new.
I don't know.
It's not exciting, right? I get it.
Yeah, that must be it.
I
I'm
get it.
I mean, it's the same idea as all your sports games.
Yeah, I guess, but it's but the sports games, I feel like they give you some gameplay changes sometimes. More, I guess, I don't know. I feel like this doesn't change. The line is still there about where you're supposed to perfectly brake and accelerate.
I mean, if you're really into the tuning part, then you might
Yeah.
find there's more there.
and-
It's just like if you're really into football,
and-
it's all these little things make a little difference because now you can
I mean-
audible at the line or some stupid shit.
This one is
I'm-
supposed to be like a big sim, right?
Yeah,
a sim
it's.
racing game.
Oh yeah, it is. And I will say,
So it's not.
everything.
You're not gonna get big.
Horizon's the
DPUs.
more arcadey one.
Yeah.
This is just motorsport.
The cars look phenomenal. The tuning is amazing, and you can actually and listen, giving them credit, they take the gearhead out of it if I want to. So the game was you can upgrade parts. Blah. They're giving me this whole line, and I hate having to play an intro for a car game. By the way, you can't skip the cutscenes, and I'm like, I don't give a shit
What?
about these. Yeah, you can't skip the cutscenes.
You must watch
So,
these cutscenes.
You have to watch these
Forza.
beautiful reflection cars going down the racetrack. I'm like, why am I watching this shit? But they're telling you you can upgrade the cars, and I'm like, I don't want any
wanna do
part of
that.
this. But they do have they do have a quick button.
Auto
They let
do
the
it,
computer
yeah.
just do it. Yeah.
Just auto
So
do
give them
it.
credit. And the credit or earning system looks much better than it used to be. It looks a lot because in the games past, this game was unfair because it was a pay to go. Remember, they botched that. They used to have to make you buy credits. You can
I
just
forget.
get ahead. It was crap. It was a crappy pay to play model. It was one of those
I vaguely remember
games
you
as a
talking
service,
about this before.
yeah,
Though, yeah.
I remember that. That's the last time I played this game. So I was like, let me get back in and play it. And they fixed so much. That looks much kinder and better. There's leveling up your driver avatars and the drivatars, and so good, great game. Give them credit. If you like racing games, it looks awesome. Go check it out. It looks better than Gran Turismo 7 looked. I will say I've looked at Gran Turismo 7 stuff because I do like these games usually, but maybe I'm just getting too old. I don't know. I'm bored. Maybe I'm just bored with them. That's really what I have to say. It just seems like it's the same thing every time you play it, even though it looks a little better. That's about it. Yeah. It's not much left, you know? So there's not much more to explore. That's the best way to describe it. So I played that, and that's pretty much the big thing for me this week. It's been very busy. I was away, so I didn't get to play much. So that's it for me. All right. Corey?
Yeah, I'm not playing too many games right now.
Okay. All right. Mike?
So I've been playing some more Starfield. I think I'm nearly about 100 hours in now. Sort of putting off going much further in the main story because I know that I'm getting close to the end. I have a couple more factions things I want to do, and finally spent enough money to buy a Class B ship. We'll see how that goes.
So-
A lot of this I'm noticing is you sort of create your own goals at this point in this game.
Yeah, I can't. This is not for me. This is just not for me. Like I like open. Listen. I hate open world games, but I love them.
But I love them.
Yeah. That's the best way. For people new for this,
A
that's
love-hate
me.
relationship.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it's fun for me at all, though. It just I don't want to find fun.
It's not.
You hate to love it.
You have to, like, for you, I would say, then just do the faction quests, and that's the game, basically.
But I want to. No.
Those
The
are
game
the
is
story.
the game is the main story. I'm sorry. If you can't make a good, compelling game from your main story, that's fucking terrible. Like I'm sorry.
I mean,
but that's
what
true.
if the faction stuff is the main game for you?
No, that's a side story. You could go through the whole game and
But
never
it's
touch
not
that.
for you.
Do you have to join
You
the
can go through the whole game without touching the main story too.
Then you never
have
finish
to,
the
it
game.
Sounds like.
Like to
You
finish
have
the
to-
game.
I mean, well, what is the game? What is the game, Jim? Is the game enjoying your time that you spend in it? Is it, or is it
What-
And the
completing
other
a
thing is,
section
since
apart?
I know
Mike,
this,
Mike, if you only do faction quests, you roll credits.
Do you need to roll credits
No,
to have
no
fun with the game?
credits.
That's ending the game. Yes.
But do
I
you
would like
need
to-
to? Do you need
you
to
don't
have fun?
even
Do you
end the
need
game when you
to-
do that anyway.
Yes, I do need
especially in
that.
this
I
game.
need an ending. I need an ending.
Well, you could do that. You can bang that out real quick if you want.
But it's
and
got to
it
be
won't
good.
matter.
Like it's got to be good, and everybody tells me it's not that great.
Well, there's again, if you do it all quickly, it'll
You
be more
can't bank.
impactful.
Okay, like this is my problem with the game, and like I said, it's not as bad as I was describing it podcasts ago. I'll give it's got some charm. My problem with the game is it's you got to do everything on the side and forget the main mission, and that means means there's a problem with the game in my opinion. Like that
And you don't
tells me
have
there's a
to do
problem.
that.
But if
People
I can,
tell you to do the other
what's
way
the game
completely.
score?
I'm just saying.
Mike,
I'm just saying.
forget
to
the
me,
side quests. Can you focus on the main game? Forget let's say you're gonna play just the main quest. How good is the game?
That's
Forget
not
the other
what
thing.
a Bethesda game is. You don't do that ever. You don't do that ever. The whole game is about exploring and looking at all your options, and the best strength of the game is just finding quests and where you least expect them.
I don't know.
That's just
I've
not
pretty
what
much.
the game is.
Fallout 3 was for me like I do some side quests in an open world game. I do, but I have only a little bit I do, and I do the main story. When I feel like I finished what I want to do, and that's it. I don't go exploring. I do what I want my characters to complete. Like Baldur's Gate 3 was. There's so much I missed in Baldur's Gate 3, but I played that game to completion for me. This is what I wanted to do with those characters. I'm not going out and finding more things, which I'm sure there is out there, but that's what I wanted to do. Role playing that character. That's what this game is. I want to do this. So it's like there may be some cool side stuff, but I want to do the main story. And does the main story make you want to do it?
Eventually, it does. Like I would be going through it quicker if I wasn't afraid of the ending because I know some stuff. So
I just like that's my gripe. That's my gripe with the game. That's it. It's
Hmm.
I understand like it's got
I
fun
think
to
it
it. I
depends,
understand
though,
it.
like
I
the
do.
game. Like Diablo 4, you blitz through that story because you want to get past it. Like,
Yeah, but I mean,
it's just,
the goal of a
I'm
Diablo
just
game
saying,
is the loop, right? We've talked about that. The
right?
loop,
No, I get that, but I'm
right?
saying it sounds like Starfield. The goal is to get blitz through the main story so you can do the other stuff. That's what it sounds like Starfield is. It's like
I
get
mean,
through the
maybe it
main
is, but
story so you
that's
can
I would
open.
argue that's awful design. Then, if a game's prerequisite is beat this game first, and it's gonna be more fun the second time, I'm gonna be like, what are you fucking talking about?
Well, not even
Yeah.
the second time. I'm just saying, like it's just the same idea as Diablo. Where for me, it sounds like that's what this game is. Not, I
A
don't necessarily
looter
again,
want
though.
to
This is
play
not
it.
a loot game.
this is
I'm
what you
no,
guys
I'm just saying that it's like it's finding the fun in what you're doing. Like I
Yeah.
find the fun in Diablo by trying to kill more monsters to get stronger. Like maybe there's
Right.
fun in
That's the loop.
exploring and well, bro, I get that, but I'm saying in Starfield, maybe the fun is exploring these planets and finding new ships and buying ships. I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know the game. It sounds to me like
I'm sure
it's
somebody finds that
trying to
fun.
get
I'm sure
fun.
somebody finds that fun. I'm sure.
Yeah,
For
I mean
me,
that's
it doesn't sound fun.
It needs to be like a compelling single. Like I did everything in Mass Effect. Don't get me wrong. I did all.
but
But that main story intertwined it to the point where I wanted to do all of that. Like this game doesn't make you do that.
no, you guys always
Same thing with
complain.
Fallout 3.
You especially when you have these open worlds and like there's such urgency to the main story, you don't want to do anything else. This
Yes.
is not that specifically for that reason.
So I'm out. I'm out.
For that reason, I'm out.
But no, it's specifically so you can take your time. If something interests you, you go and do it. You don't need to rush to do anything in the main story. Now, there's more urgency later in the story for sure. But
Like
I'm more invested in doing all the side quests at least once, all the big faction quests at least once before I finish the main story for the first time.
See,
Um,
my understanding of the game is that you can just like what is it, Fallout 4, probably, and probably 3 in the Duvet. I don't remember those games as much, but like you can just join all the factions. Doesn't matter. You like. It just sounds like they're scared of locking you out of content. It's like, hey, like here's a big
except for
decision.
there's just I would say, well, I screwed myself a little bit already because I expected it to be more robotic than that. Because one of the quests, basically, you are playing both sides in a specific quest, and one of them, you're a Crimson Fleet member, basically, and that's like one of the pirate factions. And I assumed that it wouldn't keep track of that when I took a bounty, like as a sort of Radiant quest and killed some Crimson Fleet people somewhere else, but they did. So when I went back to the Crimson Fleet home base, they're like, "You need to pay like 40,000 credits, or we're gonna shoot you." I'm like, "God damn it!" So I mean, it's not. There's
So you're
a
penalized, but
couple of
were you locked out of content? Did like the faction become
if I
hostile to
just
you?
if only if I shot them instead of paying them, yes, they would have.
Okay, but yeah, there's not
Probably.
like there just needs to be repercussions for your actions.
Well, there will be at the end of that specific quest. There's a Crimson Fleet U.S. Sys stuff. Basically, you're undercover in there, and you can choose who you want to go with, and the Crimson Fleet will basically be gone if I'm assuming if you go with the one other faction at the end of that, which is a shame because they buy contraband without any hassle. So
eventually the
I
game's
do
gonna make you
like
pay.
that about them.
Yeah.
This is that's
Churro chimed in too. Thank you for chiming in as well, Churro Arts, who joins us on Twitch. About the game being about guild/factions companions. That's Bethesda style games. Sorry, I'm paraphrasing your comment here. Yeah, I see. The thing for me is like, you're telling me, Churro, that it's not like Mass Effect at all, and I get that because the main story is like compelling, but I would argue Mass Effect is about the companions, and that's what makes the game so good. And like it's the same. That's what I was talking. That's what I was talking about with this. Like, it needs to be about those companions, and like, are the companions companions in this interesting enough? Like, I don't think that's the case.
a couple of them are. They did something
Last week I thought
interesting.
you admitted they were all a downgrade from Fallout 4.
They're no, as the total number of them is a downgrade for sure. There's like 4 up tier companions in this game, and 2 that are likable, but they do interesting things. They're way more reactive to situations. They have a lot to say this time around, but they did something unexpected with companions in the story mode as well.
Right.
But I don't know. I kind of feel like you got to be kind of cynical to dislike this game when you put in a lot of time, but that's just how I feel.
You like to hate play. You hate play though, so this doesn't count.
No, I don't.
You hate play everything.
You hate play
Mike.
all the
What are
time.
you talking about?
What do you?
It took you
what
like
is-
3 or
what do I
4
hate
times
play?
to beat Witcher 3. You're like, I hate this game. And then
Yeah,
you're like,
'cause
I
it
started
was
Witcher 3
slow
again.
in
We're
the
like,
beginning.
why?
Because I had nothing else to play at the time, and it's like.
But then
it
you
was in
quit
my
it again, and
backlog.
then it took you a 3rd time. You're like, I'm back to Witcher 3, guys. We're like, why?
And then I liked it, and now
Oh.
I like it a lot. So yeah, it was a
Anyways.
good decision.
All right.
Also played most of the story mode in Mortal Kombat.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
And it's fun.
It's a
How
good
is that?
story.
How is that main story? Compelling.
Good Mortal Kombat story. Yeah, it's.
So
I'm surprised a little bit by the direction they're going, but it's fun.
Yeah.
I've heard though that it's a little lacking after I'm done with that, which I'm a little disappointed in. So we'll see.
yeah, that's what I've heard too. So we'll see about it. Let me know how that is afterwards. I've heard it's not quite as interesting as previous games. Tony, what have you been playing?
Just a whole lot of Cyberpunk. I'm in the
That's
final
cool, though.
act, so
Believe that.
pretty much wrapping up a lot of the storyline stuff because I'm getting, achievements where it's like, hey, you did, X character's, storyline basically. It's like,
How?
okay.
Just put yourself in like a time machine to go back 3 years ago to tell yourself that I'm playing Cyberpunk now. What would have happened?
I mean,
Well,
I think I
we
was.
said that though.
I think I said that. Like,
Yeah,
I
we've
think I
all,
was-
yeah, we've all like. I know, like, it's like when this game gets good, we'll play it. Like that's like the whole thing we were saying.
Yeah.
It was so
It's
broken
like
though.
we were
like it's so
also
hard to see
like,
them
excited
coming
for it.
through
Like
this.
that, this game was like one of the most anticipated games for me, and
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
but
I
then
remember-
everything
I
that was
remember
coming
that.
out, it was
Yeah.
like it just looked, it just like doesn't reward your time.
Yeah.
And like, why would you do this
Why
to
do that?
yourself? You know?
So
especially
so-
on console.
like this is a
Like,
game that
pretty
has
good
like no
at
this. This is like an open world with like a lot of branching stuff, but like
I wouldn't say it's open world. No,
It's not really
the
open
way
world.
the best way to describe it is like think of like a Grand Theft Auto game, right? Where you have hold your reservations. I mean, like the thing is like Night City is awesome. It's one of the most compelling like game settings I've ever played. Like honestly, it is just so cool. Like. And it gives me that feeling that first time I played Grand Theft Auto 3, for example, where you're just like this is cool. Like, because at the time, no other game had done that, right? It's like, here's an open city. You could just drive around, like, get out and, like, stumble upon some secrets and stuff like that. And this game really gives me those vibes. But and I'm sure there's been tons of GTA clones over the years and stuff like that. But this game is just so compelling because each of their districts is just so unique and custom made, right? Like there's buildings and there's different areas that are just like custom built. You're like, oh, this is cool, right? And I've already seen a couple times where like I've been in some area, I'm like, oh, this would be a cool like setting for a quest or a mission or something like that. And sure enough, later on, it's like, oh, okay, this is the place I remember and stuff like that. So it's just really cool.
Are there a bunch of still fake doors everywhere?
Oh
Or
yeah, I
do
mean
they
that's
address that?
that's
Is it like 'cause it was a lot? The vanilla version.
yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, that's just reality, right? I mean, even in the PS2 days when it was simple and polygons, the character model of V, has more polygons than probably all of the polygons in Grand Theft Auto 3. It's just the unfortunate reality that you're not going to be able to explore every door or every room or every house, which is unfortunate. I get the need to want that, right? Because that would be so cool. But like the only realistic way that would have to be done is like procedurally generated content or just like copy paste. Like, oh, I've been in this room like 100 times or something like that. Where
this person is wearing the same shirt. Now it's
Right.
green. Now it's blue.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Oh, so it's
I-
like
no,
Redfield
I-
and the dead bodies on the floor.
yes,
Yes. Yes.
Redfall.
Redfall.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
I do recall, really liking Night City, but also being like, there's nothing left to do for me, at least after a while, where it was just like I went, did some gigs, killed some people. The
Yeah.
the loot economy was kind of fucked back then too. So even if I found like a chest which was not very well distributed through the map, I was like, oh, I just wish there was more incentive to look in these nooks and crannies because visually they looked really good, but there was just not a whole lot of reason most of the time.
Yeah, I can't compare to how it was before, but a couple areas I've already been to, they'll either be like little like gang members because there's a bunch of different, going back to factions. There's a couple different factions, and almost all of them are hostile to you because you just wind up doing bad shit to
You're
them.
like the biggest merc in the town.
Right, you're the biggest merc in town. But there's been, I'd say like at least 4 or 5 times where I've just like explored an area and been rewarded with something. And for the economy, I mean, you have to do a lot of like, if you really want to upgrade your character, because you can upgrade your character directly, or you can upgrade your weapons and stuff like that. And at the end game, like I think the highest tier is level 5, unless they introduce level 6. I just haven't seen anything like that. But when you got up to 5, like it costs a lot of components to upgrade those things now. So even if I find something like weapon or whatever that I'm like, yeah, I can't use this. This is a clear downgrade. I'm just like, I don't care. I'm just dismantling you. Like you're just disenchanting it, and it's like cool, get my pile and stuff like that. But I can get that. I mean, my biggest personal criticism of the game is that there's just nothing, or there's very little to do that's non-combat related, right? Because the fun thing in Grand Theft Auto was like you could just do stupid random shit, right? Like was it billiards, darts, that kind of
small stuff inside.
Right, a lot of small mini game stuff.
Yep.
In this, there's a couple arcade units that you can play the games, which are fun.
Which are new.
Which is new. That wasn't in 1.0. Okay, I didn't ask.
There was nothing in the base game.
Gotcha. So that's like a good step forward then, and that's what I would want out of a sequel, is more stuff where it's like, hey, maybe I don't feel like killing or whatever. Like maybe I just want to
more Yakuza.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I get this game kind of, there's plot urgency.
There's some karaoke in there.
Right. There's some plot urgency where it's like, yeah, like if I was in that situation, yeah, I probably wouldn't want to fuck around either. But no, the game's great.
That's the way I treat the game. So
yeah,
usually that's when I play a game.
Game is great, and I do feel Johnny Silverhand, aka Keanu Reeves, his character is awesome. Like it's just so fun. Like anytime he's on screen and he talks to me, I'm just like either like hell yeah or like fuck you dude, because like he's a very abrasive type of character, just says his mind and stuff like that. So I do find that back and forth intriguing. And the DLC again, because I'm like at the last mission and I don't want to do it because it will lock you out of certain things or determine your ending and stuff like that. So I'm like, I still want to think about this before I commit to any one thing. I'll probably
time have you played?
50 hours, I want to say 50ish.
Wow.
Stuff like that. So I mean, it's a pretty meaty game, but I'm happy with it.
How much?
That's incorporating all the DLC stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
How much would you say is just Phantom Liberty?
I'd say Phantom Liberty is probably, and I'm not done with Phantom Liberty's like content in terms of like
end game thing.
I mean, I'm done with the main story of Phantom Liberty. There's still like gigs and contracts and whatnot that I've just kind of like brushed aside because at least on PC they upped the performance requirements of Dogtown. So it's like the rest of the game is great, and I step into Dogtown and it's kind of like a little jank. So I have to like lower my, basically I'm turning DLSS off, or not the ray tracing. I'm turning ray tracing off because otherwise it's just like a little too dirty for my likes. But I would say Phantom Liberty probably like 10 to 15 hours or something like that. Yeah. It's hard to gauge because like what the game likes to do, and I get it. It's like you'll do a quest and be like, I need a day to like follow up or something like that. So you're like, okay, I guess I'll go do other missions then, right, or something like that. And then
you got a question there, Tony, from
Brokish. What is my GPU? It's a RTX 3070.
No.
Yeah. So I'm at 3070, 1080, as well. Game looks phenomenal. It's just the performance is I want to say it's a little less than 60 FPS in Dogtown. The rest of the game is fine. It's just the Dogtown, but I could probably tweak the settings a little bit more. I was just following like a couple guides, which is like, hey, this is how you get, like the kind of cool thing about PC gaming is like you can be like, hey, best settings for this graphics card and this combination. They'll be like, turn this off, turn this off, turn this off. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah.
I downloaded it again.
Yeah, I have it.
I
I
will
still have
play
the game.
this soon.
This will be installed actually on my Xbox shortly. Maybe I'll play that next because I'm not gonna go back to Starfield after that.
Yeah.
Oh, you got like 10 more days till
I know.
Spider-Man.
I know. I don't know if I could get that right now. That's the problem. So it's just like tough times to get that thrown in there.
I beat
But
Spider-Man in a day, so don't worry about
yeah,
it.
It's a weekend. I mean, take a weekend to get through Spider-Man.
yeah. So cool. All right. That's it for what we've been up to. Let's go into some news. What do we have on the news today, guys?
Couple juicy
Tell
tidbits.
me.
Oh, this Telltale thing. Let's just go with it. What is happening with the resurrected Telltale that's now dying again? Is this happening?
Well, yeah,
again?
that's exactly what I even said the first time it happened around, because like it sounded like they were just keeping the name, like Telltale, alive in name only. But apparently they did hire back a bunch of the original team and stuff like that.
I remember that happening. Yeah.
But they kind of didn't want it to enter the news cycle. But apparently there were layoffs at Telltale, which directly impacts the Wolf.
I don't think
too.
The Expanse did very well, right?
No.
Because I saw that was like getting clearanced out, and so
yeah,
oh,
I don't think
what else did they put out? Like I don't even know.
I mean,
what other
nothing besides really. So it's just like, I mean, waiting for all of those games we were waiting. It's just like waiting for all those Telltale classics to come back to finish up, and yeah, it's not going to happen. It's just again money issues, and this is different. This is a different company at this point, but it's still based on not being able to release anything. So, all right. So we've got that. We've got so we got what else we have here? What is the Jason Schreier? What was that one post again? That was the let's talk about Unity. John Rosatello, CEO, former CEO of Unity, is he's stepping down per company. So we had the
fuck around and find out. Which whatever. Look, I'm not gonna cry any tears for John Rosatello because he's a fucking millionaire and he's probably getting a golden parachute. But the damage is done, in my opinion, for Unity.
Oh yeah.
I mean, from what I saw online, because on like Reset Era, there's a big mega thread for this, and a lot of companies, indie devs, have just flat out said like, we're never going to take that risk again. Like, even though they walked it back for now, like, who's to say that they're not going to try this again in X years?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's like if we have to pull this Band-Aid, we're going to pull it now, right?
You're gonna have to like draw up some contracts and stuff to protect yourself as a developer now, because at this point, like, there's no trusting that these guys, if it's a private engine that they can just control and do whatever they want, like,
yeah. So, I only see the people who are like halfway to or more in development sticking with Unity just because it's like, hey, we got to ship something, and then a bunch of devs are already saying like they're paying people to convert it, right?
So much money or so much time in it.
Yeah, exactly. So but the thing is, like, even though look, I'm glad he's getting fired, whatever, but the thing is, he, to my understanding of the situation, he was just enacting the will of the shareholders in saying like, hey, because like
I mean, it's no sweat off. Like, what is he doing there anyway? Like, he's gonna probably make just as much money and
he's
just
getting
find some
buyout.
other position.
Absolutely. He's getting paid.
He's gonna find some other
paid
position that's gonna do the same thing.
Fall upwards, stuff like that.
Yep.
Which...
Yeah, and Brokish thing. Yeah, they will definitely say, hey, we're doing this great stuff for you in the future. You're right, absolutely right on that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Unity's. They have massively.
They shot themselves.
Yeah, like that foot's gone. It's
gotta
it's gone
from the absurdity there.
Yeah, and it's too bad. I mean, because their engine is in so much stuff, and it's easy to learn.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy for developers, and so many people know it, so it's easy to get help.
Yeah. And it's scalable because you can even do mobile games on it and whatnot. So it's really unfortunate
fallout of this.
Yeah. And we got, let's see. Oh, we have the PS5 news. That's what we have. So, Sony announced the new model of the PS5 with a removable drive.
This is the PS5
November.
Slim. This is PS5
the Slim. New model. I'm sorry. New model as not an upgrade or anything like that, but this is the Slim model that we've talked about. that is very appealing to myself.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but
absolutely, yeah.
yeah. So, coming November, it has a 1 terabyte storage, and new model provides option to add an Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive, which is pretty cool.
Well, I mean, it's cool, but also at the same time, the digital edition is getting a price increase.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
It broke Jim.
Sony got him.
Yep.
All right, so we'll wait for Jim to come back. But yeah,
Come out.
the digital edition is going from $399 to $449.99. So $50, only a $50 discrepancy between the digital and full version, which is I don't know. I think it's a little like for $50, right? Like it's just $50, right? Like why
it's the
wouldn't
same
you?
storage also. It's like, 'cause I didn't get to see that.
No,
It's storage.
it's the terabyte, right? So you are getting a little bit more
So you're getting
storage.
a little bit more. Okay,
But
so maybe that's where they're kind of like being like, "Hey, we're gonna give you more storage."
No,
but
well,
now...
I mean, the thing is, storage is one of the few things where, as time goes on, you get more storage for cheaper, right? Like, I mean, I remember on my last thing when I got a 500 gigabyte SSD, I probably spent like $200 on it or something like that. Whereas like, you can get like a terabyte drive made specifically for PS5 for like
now.
$50, $60, $70 depending on a sale or whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think it's cool that the new PS5 digital edition will have the option to get a drive. Now, the thing is that we found out through this is it's not like a plug in the USB port and you suddenly get a disc drive. It's you take out part of the PS5 digital edition and you replace it with this like accessory device, kind of like an old Sega or a Nintendo thing, right?
It can't just be an easy plug and play thing.
Exactly.
It's got to be proprietary, make it a little bit more difficult.
Exactly. Not to mention all those Gen 1, PS5 digital edition owners, they don't have something now, which is unfortunate because, I could see a lot of people being, you can't just add it on. So that kind of sucks. I mean, so it's an artificial price increase, right, for the PS5 digital edition.
How they get around it? Yeah.
It screws over the Gen 1 digital edition owners. And honestly, like, I really wish they just redesign it. Like, you look at it, and unless you have the side-by-side comparison, you're like, wait, it looks the same.
It looks like a tower. Yeah. It looks like a freaking, like, massive Eye of Sauron tower. So, I don't know. I think that... for me, like I was waiting for it to get slimmer, which is good, but it looks just as tall. I think it is just as tall, so that's.
It is a little shorter, I think. It is slimmer. We lost our video, Jim, but.
I have you now.
I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, I reloaded. It should be all good now. But yeah, I mean, so I mean, we'll see. Obviously, artificial price increase, but it's intriguing for people like to get a new model. We'll see. And Brokish, thank you for joining us also. But we did talk about Starfield actually at the beginning of this episode to death. Mike's been playing it like crazy here on the podcast, and we kind of went into that whole aspect of it. And we actually have an earlier episode called "Finding the Fun." I believe we were talking about finding the fun.
You and Mike.
It was just Mike and I talking about it. Again, we had the similar conversation where it's like the game has charm. It has that Bethesda charm to it, but it's like for me, it just doesn't have a compelling enough main story to.
Yeah. Well, but listen to the beginning. We did a lot.
So that's about it. So, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much. Do we have anything else news?
Tell me. I didn't get to see.
I can't look, so you have to look at the channel news.
I am looking. I didn't see anything else. Was there anything else you wanted to discuss? Was there a Disney thing that I missed?
Yeah. So apparently.
There's a
rumor that Disney board members or shareholders, I forget exactly, but there's pressure on Bob Iger saying we should pivot as a company towards gaming, and there's rumor or indications that possibly they were going to buy out EA.
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you remember, I could see some truth in that because remember, a year or so back, there was some rumor that EA was looking to sell out.
That's what I'm saying. EA is a prime acquisition target for a lot of people. So I found that to be like an Amazon target. Somebody wants to get into gaming, but that's huge. And we talked about this last week, didn't we? Like
Well,
they were
it's like
they were going to be serious. They're trying to
Like
get
all
serious
these
into this.
other like all these big companies are just gonna consolidate into each other. So it's like
Yeah,
you're gonna have like one or two or three epic mega corporations now. That's what it's moving towards. It seems like, and yeah, it's just it's gonna be unfortunate, I think, because we saw what happened when EA had control over Star Wars, and they did nothing with that. And so if like Disney has like this whole EA studio family to make their games for them, like I don't know if that's a good thing, because then it sounds like they may not necessarily get an Insomniac to make a Spider-Man game or a Wolverine game anymore, and you're just gonna have their internal EA houses doing this stuff, which doesn't seem like it worked out last time.
yeah. EA
I
with
mean,
their last work wasn't quite impressive with it, so
Yeah.
not instilling a lot of confidence. Um,
But it's just a
but
rumor. It's obvious speculation when you have all these corporations with all this
no,
money and talk and
good.
other people getting acquired here and there. It's always going to come up as something. It's like, well, what if this company buys that company? And
I'm
blah, blah,
sure there is some truth to it, because like if you think about it, like Disney, is an entertainment company, right? Because they have their
Mhm.
hands in TV, movies, animation, theme parks, obviously,
Yeah.
whatnot.
yeah,
And they have such strong IP brand recognition, right? But they don't really capitalize it in the gaming aspect. And it seems like it's, hot or cold, right? Where like they'll do something. Like I remember back on the Wii, they really pushed for like something like Epic Mickey, right? And that was done by what's his name? Shoot.
Spectre.
Yeah, Warren
Warren
Spector. Thank
Spector.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal at the time. And the first one came out and did gangbusters, right? And they immediately greenlit a sequel, and the sequel kind of flopped because they ported it to the other systems, and it wasn't a little less special or whatever. And yeah, we have finally the good Star Wars games these days, right? As opposed to the initial deal with Electronic Arts, right? Where it's like
Mm-hmm.
5 years of a 10-year deal, and all they had was Battlefront, right? It's like cool,
Yep.
like glad this is happening. But for me, like gaming is an opportunity where they could really grow to like there's a lot of growth to be had for a
Yeah.
gaming sector for them, right? Because you look at it like Disney even Plus, I would say it had reached that saturation point where it's like it's not necessarily the more money they're throwing into it, or they're making more money. It's actually we have to stop the bleeding, right, and stuff like that. And I would surmise actually that by them looking at companies like say Nintendo and Sony and even Sega, right? Like their pivot from these video game companies to and Sony was already there, right, with entertainment, but like
Yeah.
certainly you look at like Nintendo and Sega when they're starting to get into like these other things, right? You're like, oh shit, like okay, suddenly this revenue stream which we didn't have before, right? Mario movie comes out, does $1 billion. The Sonic 1 and 2 movies I think have done over $1 billion total, right? Where you're like, oh shit, we went from nothing in this market to $1 billion, over $1 billion, and that helps keep that IP relevant and alive, right? So maybe when the next Mario game takes 5 years to develop, not that it would happen, but you can rely on a movie to
Well, that's that's the whole thing these days is getting that brand, that
Yeah.
IP out into every medium. Like look at Last of Us, and look at even Gran Turismo's got a movie now. It's like you need and want to have as many of these different avenues of money making opportunities as possible. Streaming.
I'm shocked it's taken this long to have this conversation with them. Yeah, go on. Yeah, the streaming and everything. Right. You want those. You want the revenue avenues.
The TV, the movies, the books, the comics, like every nerdy little thing these days. It's like nerdy stuff is cool. Like nerdy culture is cool, and so any avenue that you can get people to start like, hey, I like books, so here's a novel for you. And now, oh, this novel's cool. I like this universe. Now, what else do you have? Like, oh, there's a video game, and then there's a movie, and there's a TV show. So yeah, they just want to expand as much as possible.
Yeah, and especially with Disney, because I think Corey, you pay a little bit of attention to it, Jim and Mike. So Disney just came out with a trading card game called Lorcana, and it's all their Disney animation IPs and stuff like that. And so far, that has done gangbusters. Something like they're selling out. People are scalping. Like if you go into a store and you see Lorcana booster packs or anything like that, just buy them. You can resell them for probably 2 to 3 times as much, especially with this upcoming holiday season. Yeah. You will probably make money off of this stuff. But that's another area where they're just like, hey, we don't have anything, so let's create something. And as long as it does well, that's it's a whole new money stream for them.
And even
No.
with Magic, like you're saying, like Magic, you have bringing in these different
Mhm.
IPs to expand people's interest. Because like, oh, I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, but I don't know anything about Magic. Now there's this Magic Lord of the Rings stuff, so it brings people in, and it also brings people out to the other stuff. So
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and I guess Brookish will answer this question of yours before you wrap up. But
Yeah.
thoughts on $70 games? Many people seem to hate the increase in price, but as a 32-year-old, I remember my dad buying games in the 90s for 40 to 50, or even upwards of $100 US in the 90s. It is inflation. What are your feelings? Long answer, we do have actually an episode dedicated to this. I think it was even titled like $70 games when I think it was
I think
NBA.
it was $70.
But the
Yeah.
short answer is, look, it sucks paying $10 extra. You know, I'm never gonna be like, yeah, I want to pay more
Who
money.
wants to pay more? Yeah.
Right? But the reality is, we had that $60 price point for what was it? Over 2 generations since the 360.
We had it for too long.
We had it for
It
too
was just
long.
yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to
It's been
inflation,
proof
like
in a weird way.
Yeah.
it's also just like the way it's I mean the way the industry's grown, the size of the games, the size of the teams, everything got so much more expensive, and the games did not. So something had to give, and that's the price. That's it.
That said, especially when you talk about NBA, we were kind of hoping that when you increase the base price, you would see a little less of the microtransaction stuff, and obviously that doesn't happen with
Hasn't
NBA.
happened. That's never going to happen. No, that's going to be there.
No, I
because
mean,
that's another money.
so the real question
having
is, would you pay $90, $100 for a game and not have battle passes and microtransactions like
I don't think
ever?
I don't think they do it. I think they.
No, they would still lose money in that.
Yeah,
but
you want the cash.
as a
the
consumer,
whales.
would you do that? It's pretty much hypothetical because they'll never do that. But
Yeah.
it's interesting to think think
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Brokers, you give up a good point. Why are they releasing at 70, but it's not even complete? And
That's a problem.
we can look at a
That's a
game like actually, I didn't even put it on the news because it was so insignificant. I thought, but Redfall just got its first major
got a patch.
update, right?
second mention to this podcast.
Yeah, sorry, but yeah,
This
like
time
it
as
just
Red
triggered
Ball
this.
instead of
This is
Red
the
Field.
conversation that triggered me
Yep.
mentioning it, right? Because it was related. And that game, even though it's on Game Pass, it's Microsoft. They price it at $70, and I look at that, I'm like, you're not worth 70. You're definitely not worth 60.
But then the unfortunate reality though is like people are like the same amount of work and effort that people need to put out to make these games is that's still the same thing. It's like a $60 game, $70. There's the amount of people working on these games are the same, and the salaries are the same. So it's like this game may be shit, but you're still paying them the same amount that you pay to get the people that made this other game that's better.
There are
unfortunate.
different scales of games though. There are indie games.
Obviously, and the budgets for games are a lot bigger and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, the cost of games is just increasing, and it's and even though you get a bad game, like the people that worked on these games, they still had to work on these games.
Right.
Like, they had to spend time and effort, and it sucks, but they're not gonna get the bonuses or paid extra for their efforts.
Basically, in conclusion, I'm cool with $70, especially with single player, like no DLC, no microtransaction things. With something like NBA, that's kind of bullshit, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's still the base cost of increase. That's what it is, Mike.
Yeah.
So
if anything, like all it does is look like obviously the giant megacorps. Nothing's gonna really change the needle there for them. It's just other than executives getting their bonuses, right?
And if you want good things and you like things, you got to support the people that make them.
Right, and that's what I was about to say. Like the mid-core developers, right? Maybe a little bit too big for indie or below. Like the thing is, like now they can price a title or like they could price it accordingly, right? And the people that are at those companies will directly benefit from having that extra $10 cushion. And it's still totally a thing that it's up to the publisher and in some cases the developer on what they want to price. Because Cyberpunk is still 60, I believe, retail. Because I even bought the combo on
definitely
PC.
Find it here and there, but yeah.
But Resident Evil 4 was 60. Capcom has not moved prices up to 70 yet. Square Enix has. Sony has. Nintendo only chose Tears of the Kingdom, and for me, like 10, like I wouldn't have paid, probably 80 or maybe even 90 because I'm a super fan of that series, right? What we are going to see though, and I'll make a proclamation here, is that we're going to start seeing these extra like $10, $20, $30 passes to play it early, right? Because that's what Starfield did, where if you bought the what is it, the deluxe edition or whatever the heck it was.
Something stupid. Yeah.
You could play it like a week early or something like that.
Yeah.
And apparently that did really well because you know,
Mm-hmm.
top the Steam charts and stuff like that. So I can absolutely see a lot of publishers going that route now, where it's like, hey, you really want this game? Pay us an extra $20 and you can play
Well,
it.
yeah.
a week
What
early.
was it before? Like it used to be, you know, you throw in like the collector's edition
Yeah.
was $10 more, and they just give you like stickers and whatever,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
some like stupid thing that's not
In-game
worth.
hat or something.
Right, right. So yeah, so
Yeah.
you gotta throw them a bone here and there, and playing it early. You know, everybody wants to be the first, so.
Yeah. So.
Mhm.
All right.
But yeah, cost per hour thing, I think that's not a bad metric at all, though. Is you know, to go to a
Sometimes.
movie, $20 to go to a 2-hour movie, or you can spend, you know, $60 for 100 hours.
That's
of
a
fun.
sort of a separate
It's a separate
discussion
topic.
as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
But it's, I mean, it's you know, wherever you feel like you are getting
it's where
value.
you get value out of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's like it's individual, you know, preference.
All right, that's gonna wrap up this episode of the Gamecast, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, we are live on Twitch Tuesday nights, 8:00, 8:05ish sometimes.
Mhm.
Please join us live. If you missed these broadcasts, actually over on YouTube, we have our channel, All You Can Geek, over on YouTube. So subscribe to both channels. You can look all the old contents over on YouTube, so you can check it out over there. It's AYCG channel.
Or
so.
on any major podcast platform, Spotify.
And we're also audio
Apple,
on Spotify, iTunes, the Apple Podcasts. Sorry, not iTunes anymore. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and I forget what else. But we're on there. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon. We'll see you next week. We are out for this one.